What's going on, y'all? I've got some sick buffs from my boy Dragapult and his pre-evolutions, but before I get into explaining why I chose the things I did, why I changed what I did, and just how powerful Mega Launcher is here with all these new moves that work with it, and any of that stuff, right? I'm going to explain it all in a second, but before I get into it, I want to have a disclaimer. First of all, this is not balanced around competitive play. I know I got to specify that for this video because obviously Dragapult is like a very popular singles Pokemon. Tons of people are going to be thinking, oh my crap, this is so broken. It's not balanced around competitive play whatsoever. It's an in-game ROM hack where every single Pokemon is massively reworked. They all get tons of cool new tools and things to work with, and a lot of that comes from the move buffs and changes. So when you're done with this video, I recommend you go to the description and click the Google Sheet, and it has all of the moves categorized into several categories. Very nice English there, but yeah, you can easily click these and jump to the sections and see what each move does now. And then you can also check out all the other important stuff on the Google Sheet in the description. But don't click off now because it'll mess up my watch time. And, you know, if you want to support my work or be supportive of any way, I recommend you, first of all, don't click off the video. Watch till the end. Make sure you drop a comment, leave a like, sub if you haven't already. All that good stuff. It really helps me out a lot. What else? Also, if you're new here, I recommend you pause the video and read the description. I've got a bullet point list explaining all of the key points about the ROM hack and the way it's balanced and why it's balanced the way it is. So that'll answer a lot of your questions if you're new here. With all that annoying intro stuff out of the way, I really do appreciate you guys sitting through it all. If you're a returning viewer especially. I can talk about Dragapult. So Mega Launcher is obviously a very fitting choice for Dragapult, given that his entire thing is having those cannons on his head. And as for the other abilities, so Levitate is an obvious choice, and then Dry Skin seems mid, but when you consider how frail he is physically, it is really nice, because I think being able to switch in on like strong physical water moves and take no damage at all is very useful. Not to mention you could even use him in rain, you know, get a little bit of healing, that kind of cool shenanigans, but it's a bit gimmicky. I would say the main thing is just for the immunity, because Dragon Ghost with the water immunity, again, you already resist it, but because of your frailty on that physical side, it is nice to have that immunity regardless. And even on the special side, like 10380 is very good, but you know, a fucking rain boosted Hydro Pump is still going to do a shitload of damage, so it's nice to have that Dry Skin to switch to optionally. And I also just really wanted an ability that alludes to their like water origins, because they're, you know, based on this like prehistoric amphibian, extinct amphibian, and amphibians, as you guys know, they're amphibious, right? Like their skin needs water and moisture, which is what Dry Skin comes from, by the way. I'm tired of people fucking misinterpreting Dry Skin, the ability, man. I sort of blame Heliolisk for it, but Dry Skin, all it means is that your skin needs water, like it needs water to be moisturized, so it dries out in the sun. So dry Pokemon like to be dry. I don't know how to explain it. Like dry Pokemon like to be dry, but amphibian, like frog-esque Pokemon, that type of shit, they like dry skin because the sun, you know, dries them out. Anyway, Dry Skin rant aside, Mega Launcher is very, very powerful, and even Dracloak is really unique over Dragapult. So it's probably the worst example out of all the pseudos, but all the pseudo mid evolutions have at least one, usually more, but at least one different ability from their final evolved form. And they're like they stand out in a lot of ways. Like a lot of them even have like a different typing, like Shelgon, Pupitar type ones, but even stuff like Dracloak and Zweilous, like they have that different unique ability and the ability to hold a Violite. However, in Dracloak's case, without the different ability, he would be kind of ass compared to Dragapult. And even now, once you get past 45, obviously the middle evolutions are most importantly balanced to be good up until they evolve. Even the baby evolutions are balanced to be good up until that 25 and 45 level caps that they evolve at. But most of the time you can keep them later. I would say Dracloak I would only keep if I needed priority cheese with swiftness. For example, there's like a rapid fire boss fight that's like really scary and I have no counters to it at all, and I really can't play around it safely. Then, you know, you can delay your Dracloak's evolution up until whenever you don't need that rapid fire anymore. You could totally do that. However, obviously Dragapult is much stronger and also bulkier without a Violite. And yeah, that Mega Launcher. So this thing is definitely relatively broken, although you have to keep in mind that you're not guaranteed a plus speed nature, so you're still very fast, don't get it twisted, but you're not like as absurdly quick as you are in a competitive setting, right? Because in competitive, well, first of all, you have to deal with crazy speed tiers in competitive, like fucking Scarf, for example, Scarf Dragapult, booster energy speed Pokemon, stuff like that. In game, you don't have to deal with that. The speed tiers are much more relaxed. However, because you're only guaranteed 20 speed IVs and you're not guaranteed a plus speed nature, you're locked to 20 IVs. So no matter what, if you get a neutral speed nature Dragapult, you're only hitting, quote unquote, only hitting 372, which is only outspeeding base 120 plus speed Pokemon, I believe. Yeah. So you outspeed anything with base 119 and below. Anything slower than 120, you outspeed with your Dragapult, unless you get minus speed nature. So that's still very, 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 very good. That's incredibly good because most Pokemon are not able to do this, you know, naturally. But the AI still is always going to have that speed advantage. That's part of the way the game is balanced and the difficulty is balanced. Is that the AI will typically get the speed advantage unless you get a lucky speed nature. Regardless, it's still incredibly fast, and you have incredible array of coverage moves, a lot of which are Mega Launcher boosted. So I'm gonna rapid fire them all in a second, because I don't really need to explain the other abilities very much. Like Dreepy, Wimp Out, you know, that's very good for free pivots, especially early on in the game. It also makes a lot of sense with Dreepy and his whole design and stuff. You know, it just makes sense. You know, like it says, it's so weak and it's just a little baby, you know. So, excuse me, sorry. I thought I was hurting after bulk recording all these, but yeah, Dragapult Mega Launcher, very, very strong. As you can see, all these bolded options, right? So stat-wise, you've got your reliable Shadow Ball, 135 power, Dragon Pulse, 150 power. Draco Jet, as you can read, is an exclusive move that comes from Dragon Darts. It's designed for Pokemon like Garchomp, Latios, Roaring Moon, Flapple, Pokemon like that, right? It's better for them, but in Dragapult's case, it's not as good because he's already fast. However, you know, first of all, it's priority and it's 105 power. With Mega Launcher, it's 158 power, so that's always going to be good. It's objectively still good. It's also stronger than Draco Jet. Stronger than Dragon Darts. The downside is you can't use it twice in a row, so you can't spam banded, you know, Draco Jet. I mean, you can do it, but you have to switch out after you because otherwise you'll struggle. But that's still very good. And also, again, you only outspeed 119 and below. So anything with 120 and higher, you'll still need to click that Draco Jet on, which is still good. Very good. So, and it's also very early on. You'll have it level 40. So that's very, very cool. Signature / exclusive type move there. And then that's really your only significant physical Mega Launcher move. The only other ones are Gunk Shot, Terra Blast, technically if you Terra, and that is literally it. So, and that's just the nature of Mega Launcher, right? Most of them are going to be physical. There are actually a good amount of there are a good amount of physical Mega Launcher moves, but a lot of them don't make sense for Dragapult, like Seed Bomb. There's a lot of them actually, Rock Blast, a bunch of them, but they don't really make much sense for Dragapult to learn. I also like how he has tons of really, really high base power water moves, which is really cool given his whole like pseudo water typing going on and the pseudo flying typing going on with the stuff like Dive Bomb and Aero Blast, Mega Launcher boosted and stuff like that. But before I get into that, I also want to cover the whole physical attack versus special attack thing. So 100 special attack unchanged is crazy with Mega Launcher, because it's a 50% boost. You know, that's insane. That's a free choice specs on all your moves, or on your Shadow Ball and everything. So very, very strong. So yes, your special sets are going to be a lot stronger than your physical sets a lot of the time, but you still have high base power physical moves. So you've got 100 base power Dragon Rush, 130 power high jump kick, Dive Bomb. Dive Bomb is flying type high jump kick. Dragon Ascent and Shadow Force, for example, those are both physical Draco Meteor variants. Another important thing to mention here is that Phantom Force and Shadow Force are essentially drawback free in regards to the 2-turn effect. A lot of people shit on them because in competitive a 2-turn move is shit, right? Especially in singles, it's bad because you can always freely switch around and it gives them a free turn, and the player knows how to take advantage of a free turn much more than the AI does. The AI is not going to hard switch out of your Shadow Force or Phantom Force. The AI is not going to know, oh, he's invulnerable this turn, let me click Swords Dance. That's not how that works. So they're essentially drawback free. If anything, they can be beneficial because they can PP stall, they can give you extra residual healing with like leftovers or leech seed or whatever. So yeah, definitely not a big deal in game. And then you also have Poltergeist, which is 100 power, 100% accuracy now. So that's just a consistent, no drawback physical move. Meanwhile, Shadow Force is essentially Draco Meteor, physical, 140 power, and then Phantom Force is recoil, so it's like Ghost type double edge, which is insanely strong off of 142 speed and 120 attack, right? However, there are other super fast, super strong Pokemon that are either stronger than Dragapult or just as fast. Like Barraskewda with Hustle, for example, has 141 speed and 123 attack, for example. That's even stronger than Dragapult. So, you know, it's not like he's like the craziest thing on the planet, but he is still very strong and fun to use, of course, with all those coverage moves that you can switch between whenever you want. Not to mention Terra Blast being Mega Launcher boosted gives you a guaranteed Mega Launcher option for any type, no matter what your Terra type is. But he also has tons and tons of coverage. So you've got water moves like Hydro Pump, water. Earlier on, you've got like Water Pulse, Bubble Beam, Water Gun, Brine, etc. But even then, once you get Mega Launcher, when you evolve, you already have access to probably Hydro Pump, and you get Torrential Pulse of 52, which is So Torrential Pulse, Aerial Blast, and Astral Storm are all Wicked Blow variants, meaning that they are 80 base power, guaranteed crit. The only drawback being you can't click them twice in a row, which is a big drawback for stuff like Scarf and Specs, but which is the main thing I balanced them around. However, on something that's as fast as Dragapult, that drawback is very minor, extremely minor, because you can always just, like, this thing is crazy, man, because you can just click those moves because you're so fast naturally. You can click the moves and then not have to worry about the drawback at all because you have so much coverage. You should be able to hit the next thing that comes in super effectively. This thing absolutely loves having Move Relearner. It loves it because you can just teach whatever coverage you want. For the situation on both physical or special sides of the spectrum. It's also still got good utility. I mean, it's got all the same utility stuff it had in vanilla, right? Like Will-O-Wisp sub type stuff, switch moves in flip turn and U-turn, even in minus priority teleport could be useful, stuff like that. Also, like Tailwind Dreepy with Wimp Out is pretty sick because you can set up Tailwind and then get the free pivot into your allies, which is fun. But yeah, the main thing here is just all this coverage set, right? So sorry, I'm stumbling over my words because I'm been recording a lot, but also even like, okay, for example, Spectral Beam, which is Ghost type Draco Meteor, and Draconic Beam, which is a special Ghost Dragon type recoil move. Those are also insane with Mega Launcher, right? 180 power, 210 power, Draco Meteor variant. So the beautiful thing about like Spectral Beam is you can use that plus the crit moves, right? Or you can use like Draco Meteor into Astral Storm because the special attack drop gets ignored by your crit. So I mean, for balancing reasons, I probably shouldn't even have given him these moves, but he is like a pseudo-legendary with cannons. So there's no, there's no way I don't give the Dragon pseudo-legendary with cannons, Draconic Beam or Spectral Beam or any of these crazy moves. It just, I can't. The only move I didn't give him for balance reasons was Meteor Beam. That's the only one I stopped myself from giving, because Meteor Beam with that speed stat and Mega Launcher would mean that he can essentially click power of Meteor Beam, OHKO something, get +1 special attack, and then use that +1+ coverage to kill literally everything in the game at that point. The only thing stopping you would be something that's faster than you, or with something that has a Quick Claw. And even then, you can Draco Jet those mons, right? Especially if they're frail. You can Draco Jet outspeed that Quick Claw because priority outspeeds Quick Claw, or you can just, if it's faster than you and it dives to a, 156 base power Draco Jet, then boom, you're big chillin' right there. So very, very borderline broken Pokemon, even in in-game context, but it's still very fun to use and the buffs make sense. And, he is still frail on the physical side especially, although you can get him on the field easily because of these immunities. That's also where Dry Skin and Levitate come into play because you're not always going to need that Mega Launcher boost. In fact, a lot of the time you just straight up won't need it. Because you already hit everything super effectively anyways. You don't really need it a lot of the time. So as for coverage, you've got Mud Bomber, which is Surging Strike, special ground type move, drops speed as well, but that's not really going to matter because ideally you're just one-shotting things with it in this case. Using it for utility on Dragapult. If you got Terra Ground, man, oh my god, 6 badges, Mud Bomber. That's 6 badges, you know how fucking strong that is? If you got lucky with that Terra Ground, it'd be fucking nuts, but yeah. Even like Solar Beam, Weather Ball, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Hydro Pump, Flash Cannon, Ice Beam, Aura Sphere, Focus Blast, Energy Ball, Sludge Bomb. So many fun Mega Launcher options for him to take advantage of. And of course that Torrential Pulse and Aero Blast are both really cool as well. I love giving him those pseudo, like I gave them earlier, so they're like pseudo stab moves, right? Because he has those flying and water vibes about him. So yeah, I appreciate it very much if you made it to the end. I could talk more about like Dreepy, like it's got a solid enough Spinef stat. It's not great, but it's good enough with investment for early game. So you can still use utility moves like Soul Absorb and Rehydrate and Disable and even Soak and stuff. You've got your stronger moves early on like Arcane Fangs, 85 power, heals you, Hex, Dragon Breath, all that fun stuff early on. So yeah, Dreepy even is very fun and good to use. Of course it is very frail, but it's also very fast and pretty strong. And with that Wimp Out, all 3 of its abilities really provide it really good utility, either to switch around easier or to switch in easier. And being able to switch between your abilities freely with that infinite ability changer is always a luxury to have when you have 2 immunity abilities. Lastly, I guess I can cover that I was considering Liquid Veil for a little bit and other water type related abilities, but I ended up not liking the idea of Liquid Veil very much because it's just kind of like niche Mega Launcher most of the time, where it's like, okay, yeah, my Hydro Pump and my Torrential Pulse become absolute nukes, which is not bad because of Move Relearner, and I don't know, I prefer Dry Skin, I prefer the water immunity. I think it also makes more thematic sense given that he's like amphibious. And I just think it's really cool for him to be able to like come in on the field on water or ground type moves for free, or fighting, of course, or normal. So that's all really good. 4 immunities, man, that's great, right? 4 immunities is always good, even if you resist one of them. So yeah, let me know if you made it to the end of the video. Drop a comment. I really do appreciate y'all. There's even more stuff I could cover, like that Hydro Assault at level 45. That's essentially physical water type Draco Meteor. You know, I already covered Dragon Ascent and Shadow Force being the same thing as well. Dragon Ascent is a sick move on him, given his whole thing is like flying around, right? I love that. Wide Lens Dive Bomb at level 30 is very strong. 130 power, level 30 move. Obviously, you have to hold Wide Lens, but you're fast, so you can definitely get away with it. All right, yeah. Let me know if you made it to the end. Drop a comment. Appreciate y'all, man. And I'll be back for more. Peace.